They said he was supposed to change basketball forever. At 22 years old, he reached the top of the NBA. The future belonged to him. Then,
let's see here.
Yeah, it's before he comes down. It's the plant right there on that left leg.
One step changed everything. But this isn't a story about falling. It's about refusing to stay down. Before he became the youngest MVP in NBA history, before sold-out arenas chanted his name, before millions believed he would become the next face of the NBA, Derrick Rose was simply a kid growing up on the south side of Chicago. It wasn't the kind of place that handed out opportunities. You earned everything. Every street had a story. Every neighborhood had its own battles. For many kids, basketball wasn't just a game played after school. It was a way to dream beyond the blocks they grew up on. Derrick never chased attention. He didn't talk much. He didn't try to become a celebrity. He just played. But every time he stepped onto a basketball court, people noticed something they couldn't quite explain. He moved differently. He attacked the rim without fear. He made impossible angles look easy. And perhaps, most importantly, he played with a quiet confidence that couldn't be taught. Long before NBA scouts arrived, long before television cameras followed him, Chicago already knew this kid was special. By the time Derrick Rose arrived at Simeon Career Academy, Chicago had already begun talking about him. Coaches saw a gifted athlete. Teammates saw a leader. Opponents saw a nightmare. He wasn't dominating games because he was taller than everyone else. He dominated because he seemed to play at a different speed. One explosive first step, one hesitation, one crossover. And the defense was already behind him. As the wins piled up, so did the expectations. Rose led Simeon to back-to-back state championships, something no Chicago Public League school had done before. Suddenly, every major college program in America wanted him. But Derrick chose Memphis. Under legendary coach John Calipari, his game reached another level. He wasn't just scoring, he was controlling the pace of every possession, making impossible passes, finishing through contact, playing with a calmness that made the game look easy. In just one season, Memphis reached the NCAA National Championship game. Even though the title slipped away in the final minutes, one thing had become crystal clear. Derrick Rose was ready, not just for the NBA, but for the city that had been waiting for him all along. On May 20th, 2008, something happened that almost no one saw coming. The Chicago Bulls entered the NBA draft lottery with only a 1.7% chance of winning the first overall pick. The odds were almost impossible. But basketball has a way of creating moments that feel bigger than statistics. When Chicago's logo was revealed, the city erupted. It wasn't just because the Bulls had won the lottery. It was because everyone knew who was waiting. A hometown superstar, a player who understood Chicago because he had lived it. Just over a month later, NBA Commissioner David Stern stepped to the podium. With the first pick in the 2008 NBA draft, the Chicago Bulls select Derrick Rose.
With the first pick in the 2008 NBA draft, the Chicago Bulls select Derrick Rose from the University of Memphis.
The applause inside the theater lasted only a few seconds. But inside Chicago, it felt like the beginning of something much bigger. For the first time since the Jordan era, the city believed it had found another player capable of carrying its future. Expectations weren't high, They were enormous. And somehow, Derrick Rose never seemed afraid of them. Derrick Rose didn't need years to prove he belonged in the NBA. From the moment he stepped onto the floor, he played with the confidence of a veteran. Defenders quickly discovered that staying in front of him was almost impossible. His first step was explosive. His body control was extraordinary, and somehow, even at full speed, the game always seemed to slow down for him. He wasn't chasing highlights, they simply happened. By the end of his rookie season, Rose had been named the NBA Rookie of the Year. But that was only the beginning. Under head coach Tom Thibodeau, the Chicago Bulls transformed into one of the toughest teams in basketball. Joakim Noah anchored the defense. Oden brought relentless energy. Carlos Boozer added experience. And at the center of it all was Derrick Rose. Night after night, he carried the offense, attacking the rim against bigger defenders, creating shots when no one else could, delivering in the biggest moments. Then came the 2010-11 season. Chicago finished with the best record in the entire NBA. Rose averaged 25 points, nearly 8 assists, and became the heartbeat of a team that believed it could win a championship. When the MVP votes were announced, the result was historic. At just 22 years old, Derrick Rose became the youngest, most valuable player the league had ever seen. He stood ahead of LeBron James, ahead of Dwight Howard, ahead of Kobe Bryant. It felt like the beginning of a new era. Looking back now, it's almost impossible to believe how quickly everything was about to change. April 28th, 2012. Game 1 of the NBA playoffs. The Chicago Bulls were exactly where everyone expected them to be. They had finished the regular season with the best record in the Eastern Conference. Derrick Rose had already been named the league's youngest MVP just 1 year earlier. A championship no longer felt like a dream. It felt like the next step. That afternoon, Chicago faced the Philadelphia 76ers. With just over a minute remaining, the Bulls led comfortably. The game was all but over. Rose attacked the basket just as he had done thousands of times before. He planted his left foot, exploded toward the rim, and then something gave way. There was no collision, no defender crashing into him, just one movement, one step. Rose collapsed to the floor, grabbing his left knee. At first, no one understood what had happened. His teammates looked confused. The crowd grew silent. Then the replay appeared. And in that moment, an entire city realized its future had changed. The diagnosis confirmed what everyone feared: a torn ACL. For most players, it was one of the hardest injuries to overcome. For a player whose game depended on explosive speed, it was devastating. Surgery was only the beginning. Every day became a routine of pain, repetition, and patience. While arenas remained full, Derrick Rose spent countless hours inside empty training facilities, learning how to run again, learning how to trust his body again, learning how to believe again. Fans kept asking the same question: when is Derrick coming back? But recovery doesn't follow a calendar. It follows the body, and sometimes the body refuses to cooperate. Rose returned, then another injury. He fought back, then another setback. Seasons passed, jerseys changed, headlines changed, but one thing never changed. Derrick Rose refused to stop trying. By 2018, Many people had already written Derrick Rose's story. The headlines no longer asked if he would become a superstar. They asked what might have been. To some, he had become basketball's greatest what if. But Derrick Rose never played for headlines. He kept showing up. He kept working. And on October 31st, 2018, the basketball world witnessed something it never expected to see again. Wearing a Minnesota Timberwolves jersey, Derrick Rose delivered the game of his life. He attacked the basket without hesitation. He hit impossible jumpers. He finished through contact. Every possession felt like a reminder, not of who he used to be, but of who he still was. 50 points. One unforgettable night. One arena on its feet. And one player. Finally allowing himself to feel everything he had carried for years.
What does it mean to you, Derrick?
Man, everything, man. I worked my ass off, bro. I wouldn't have did this for the franchise, the organization, the fans, everybody, man. I wouldn't be able to play the way I play, man.
Every generation has athletes who win championships. Only a few leave a story that lives far beyond the final buzzer. If this story meant something to you, subscribe to Echoes of Greatness, because greatness isn't remembered only for what it achieved. It's remembered for the echoes it leaves behind.